Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Before I drop the gavel, we have actually 6 ordinances that were carried over from the previous council meeting last week that are due for public hearing. However, we do have a couple special people in the audience, and I know Council President has a request. I'm going to hand it over to Council President.
Because we value your time, I don't need a motion because we haven't actually dropped the gavel on starting the meeting, so I'm going to suggest that we take number 8 off of the agenda and have the recognitions prior to the public hearing. So we're going to do the recognitions now, so you guys don't have to sit around for an extra hour and a half. What do you think? That sound good?
So, thank you, Council President. So I'm sure the other council members don't mind as well. So, we actually have 2 very special Havre de Grace citizens we'd like to recognize tonight. And the first one is the most experienced Havre de Grace citizen in the audience tonight. This young lady turns 105 on March 27th, and she is an inspiration to us all, especially if you are an educator. And so I'd like to call forward Miss Mabel Hart and anyone here this evening who is with her. And could Council President, you want to join me?
Sure.
Actually, Council, you want to join me? We'll all come down. Wish her a happy birthday. Oh, sorry.
Sir, I'm gonna need those.
These live. On up. Right up here for the birthday girl.
Get this a little closer.
Okay, come on up, everybody.
We're gonna make it work.
Everybody can fill in here.
We're gonna make this work. Okay, I'll make this work.
Can take some more folks on this side.
Everybody can just fill in wherever you want to fill in. Sorry to get a chance to say hi yet. There, all these people I know. Everybody good? Okay. Okay, so who's the youngest person here? Okay. It's me. No. So everybody up here that wants to be up here? Okay, because it takes a community up here to wish this young lady happy birthday. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're on camera tonight, and I told Miss Mabel Hart that she's going to be on film. So we asked. Well, first of all, Mrs. Hart's going to turn 105 years old on March 27th, a Havre de Grace citizen. That is absolutely amazing, and you know, me being a history teacher, I can't help but think about 1919 when you were born. You know, we had the doughboys were coming back from World War I, and when you were born in March, the 19th Amendment was not yet ratified. Women could not vote in this country when you were born. And I mean, you have seen an amazing chunk of American history unfold among your eyes, and in that time you've been on this planet, you've been a Havre de Grace citizen, and you've worked in Havre de Grace, and you've been an educator at the Havre de Grace Color School, and so you've touched people's lives. I mean, you were a pioneer in the education field, and yet you've lived, and I always told you're an inspiration to me because you really, really went after that teacher's pension fund. So they don't expect you to live too much longer when you retire, you know. So you're an inspiration to us all. But it's really amazing, and we're so happy. And I was telling Mrs. Hart earlier, in the past, I'd stop by her house and hand this to her. I didn't want to inconvenience Mrs. Hart, and I just told my executive assistant, Miss Brinkman, I said, "Oh shoot, I'm going to be out of town for her birthday, and I guess she asked you to come here," and you said yes. So I'm like, "Oh shoot, well, this is great." So now we actually have Miss Hart on TV I'm so happy you're here. So in a minute, I'm going to we're going to have you say a few words in a minute, because I think everyone in Havre de Grace really wants to know what it's like to be the oldest citizen, or the most experienced citizen in the city of Havre de Grace.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, members of the council. I see my reverend is here somewhere. And he's brought along with him some members of the church. And some of the students are here. They're the smartest, most wonderful, greatest former students in the whole wide world. So they are my former students, and they're standing here. And you did forget to mention my first book.
I did.
It's going on second,
Okay.
and it's here too. All right, I'm Mabel Hart, a former teacher and probably the youngest person in this whole room. And thank you for your kind words. Thank you for having me here tonight. And may God bless all of you, and a good night.
Well said, Mrs. Hart. Well said. Well, I have to ask real quick, is there any family member that wants to say anything on Mrs. Hart's behalf? Anybody want to speak?
I have one thing to say. Are you able to marry us today?
Well, I'm not a family member, but I'm a former student. Second grade teacher
Go for it.
taught me everything that I know. We do have other students here, which I'll pass the mic to. We have Mr. Burley Frank.
Miss Mabel Hart was my second grade teacher. She's still a wonderful teacher, and I love her very much.
Yes, I'm Pastor J.C. Williams from the Mount Zion Baptist Church, formerly of Havre de Grace, presently in Aberdeen, Maryland. I would certainly like to just say on behalf of our church, our ministry, our leadership team, we are so grateful that Sister Mabel Hart is part of our ministry. And on a personal note, I would like to acknowledge that by far, she is one of the most kindest, most positive persons I have ever encountered in my life. And I am so grateful that the Lord has allowed our path to be able to cross. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Patricia Cole. I'm the president of the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center. And Mrs. Hart is one of our most famous alum whoever attended the school. She graduated in 1936. And she's touched so many people's lives here. And I just want all her students just to raise their hands, because she's got a number of students here. And we're so proud of the fact that we're here and we can honor her and thank her for all that she's done for students here in this county. 42 years of teaching, and that's nothing to just shake a stick at. So we're really proud of Ms. Hart, and we're so grateful to be here to honor her today.
Good evening. I'm Bishop Roger Tatum, pastor of Helping Hands Ministries. And I want to say, Ms. Hart, you have captured our hearts. God bless you.
I have a sticker right here real quick. You can hold on to it, but go ahead.
I just wanted to say that that Mabel has been an inspiration to me all of my life. She is really our first cousin by marriage, because my uncle married her mother. And so we have been considered cousins all our lives. And she's been an inspiration for all of us.
Good evening. My name is Emil Cromwell. Ms. Hart has always been near and dear to my heart. We, I guess, so many memories and lessons learned from Ms. Hart. And it's a blessing to be here this evening to wish her a birthday. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bert Hash, and to Mrs. Hart, I thank you for your mentorship and your counseling that I drive up from Ellicott City just to get some of your wisdom. I really appreciate that. We love you.
Well, Mrs. Hart, I tell you what, I'm very honored that you came out here tonight. I was shocked, but I'm so happy that you did, because I think it's wonderful that it's one thing if I swing by your house and hand you a recognition and wish you happy birthday, but I think a lot of citizens in the audience tonight haven't had a chance to meet you yet and are probably like really blown away by your involvement with our community and your support staff that you have here with you. And like I say, I'm always in complete admiration. One, we're both educators, and so I know. So how many years were you educate? 40 years educator?
In Havre Grace?
Total did you teach?
I think it was something around 45 or so, but it was in
That's amazing.
Howard County and Georgia for a hot minute, and and then here in Hart County.
So you've had your hands on some chalk for a while, huh? I can imagine. I still use a chalkboard. Forget all that whiteboard stuff. But anyway, so thank you so much for coming here. I look forward to wishing you happy birthday next year. It really is a testament to the impact you had on people's lives to see everybody here tonight to say a couple words and wish you happy birthday. But on that note, I have one favor to ask all my citizens in the audience and the people standing here. I know your birthday is not for 9 more days, but can we sing you happy birthday? Everybody? Mabel Hart. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mabel Hart. Happy birthday to you. Go ahead.
Special to all my former students who made this long trip to Havre Grace.
One more quick announcement. We're going to honor Ms. Hart on March the 30th at the Color School. We'll have a formal birthday party celebration for her. So you all are invited to from 1 to 4. So please join us.
Everyone, thank you for being here tonight to support Mrs. Hart. And thank you for your time, and we'll see you next year. Thank you, Mrs. Hart. Oh, hold on. I got us so wrapped up in wishing happy birthday that we forgot to tell you, Mrs. Hart, that you probably have the whole collection of these now. But we also gave you another recognition for the rare achievement of reaching such a milestone. I'd like to hand that to you. And also, city flag of Havre Grace, so you can have one in your house or on your porch. So this goes to you. So again, thank you. I'm sorry I forgot to give that to you earlier. But thank you so much, Mrs. Hart. All right. Oh, okay.
No.
She wants you to open the.
Oh, he wants it. Okay, hold on. I'll get this for you. Right. Okay, Bobby wants this. Okay. You can just hold it like that.
Get it, Bobby. One shot, Bobby. You got it?
That's it. It's one shot.
One shot.
All right, Mrs. Hart.
One shot.
I'll fold that for you. Here you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next up we have Madison Berth, the state 1A wrestling champion. You guys can all come on up.
Yeah, come over here, but stand like right there. That's your mic, right there. So. Council President, I'll let you start this off.
Well, first off, we want to congratulate you on setting this amazing feat. First time ever in Havre history that we had a female champion, state champion wrestler. And I still think, I had a conversation with the coach earlier, that she needs her own banner for girls' sports, just like they have for basketball over at the thing. We need to get her own banner, I think. But Madison here has been wrestling for a long time. How many years now? 7 years? That's awesome. She always has pictures on Facebook. I love following it. She's an amazing wrestler. She has quite a support staff of coaches and people that have helped her get to where she is, but she earned it herself. It's quite a feat to reach this level. So I'll pass this off to the mayor.
Well, Madison, as the council president said, we're really proud of you. I'll tell you what, girls in Havre de Grace have really been kicking some butt lately this year when it comes to state championship. And like I said, when your name came across my desk, I'm like, oh my God, I know your mom, I know your dad, I know everybody. I mean, I was so proud to see your name and what you accomplished. And we're really, so council president and I were like, well, we have to have Madison come in here and just tell everybody in Havre de Grace just the amazing citizens that we have here in the city and the accomplishments we do. And also the great support staff that we give our children in this community as well, and encourage them to do great things and train them to be where they are. So I want to grab this microphone from you real quick because I want you to talk a little bit. I heard you're nonstop. Here, can you take that? It's okay. Yeah. So it'll be a Q&A. So just pretend you're being interviewed. So anyway, so very interesting. So what got you into wrestling?
My brothers, they were wrestling. My dad was the coach, and I was at all the practices.
So your brother, watching your brother wrestle, and you went all the practices, and so it kind of made you think, hey, I can do this too? Yeah. Okay. Are you better than your brother?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Honesty is a very important thing in the city of Havre de Grace. So.
I've coached her brother, and it's probably right.
So, okay, so what grade are you in?
9th.
Okay, so you're in 9th grade. So I guess, so wrestling's something you're going to stick with, right? You're going to do it all through 12th grade?
Hopefully.
Okay, you don't see yourself stopping, right? Maybe do it in college? No?
Probably not.
Okay, just. Well, there you go. So let's ask some other questions here, since you had the microphone, and I have a microphone too. So what's your favorite subject in school?
Probably math, because I like geometry.
Like geometry? Like certain angles and like angles to take people down and like pin people and stuff like that? Okay, smart. Geometry and wrestling, that's great. That's great. So it's wonderful. So what other hobbies do you have other than throwing people on the pad and pin them down for 3 seconds?
Soccer, lacrosse, that's all I have time for.
Well, that's all you have time for? Okay, all right. You have good grades in school right now? Yeah. Okay, I'm sure you do. That's awesome. So anything else that people of Havre Grace should know about our state championship wrestler? No? Okay, I know you don't look like you like having the microphone in your hand right now. So I'm going to grab that from you real quick. Mom, Dad, do you have anything to say about your awesome daughter? You good? Anybody? Anybody else want to say it?
Hey, this is my granddaughter. And let me tell you something. This kid is amazing. I mean, amazing. Team Sassy. Look it up online and watch this kid wrestle. You'll be amazed. You will be amazed. We love her, and we're proud of her.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm Dave Raffon, the head coach of the wrestling team. And when I first met Madison, it was several years ago because I've had all of the births, the two older brothers. And yeah, Team Sassy is a real thing. And in 9th grade, she came into the wrestling room, and she is an absolute dominant wrestler. But to me, more importantly, she was a great teammate to a lot of the other girls who were first-year wrestlers who don't know the sport as well as she does, who are trying something very new. Girls wrestling is the fastest-growing sport in the U.S., and she took a lot of the other girls on the team under her wing, both in terms of how to win and how to take losses. And she did a great job as a teammate at such a young age as a freshman. Super proud of her and her accomplishments. So congratulations, Maddie.
Thanks, Coach.
She's a scrapper. Her family is a bunch of fighters. Her brothers have been through a couple years, and then she comes through and takes some bumps, takes some bruises, gives some bumps, gives some bruises, and just keeps on coming. And so just keep that fighting spirit. It's awesome.
I'll echo that. Your fighting spirit's awesome, and so I would warn the mayor that the next time you try to interview her, I'd be careful. Double leg takedown might be in your path, so watch out.
Well, any more comments? I'm kidding. So, well, Madison, listen, we're really proud of you for all you've done. Again, it's just me being an educator for 25 years, living in Havre Grace. I know how rare it is to have a state championship. And we had the girls softball team in the fall, and for you to make that accomplishment, you really make our community proud. I know you make everyone in your school very proud, and it's something that you'll take with you for the rest of your life. And who knows? I mean, I'm certain that your chapters aren't yet done being written. So I'm sure you're going to be a frequent name that we're all going to talk about in the city of Havre Grace for a long time. So again, I'm very proud of you. And I'm very proud of your family for raising such a great young lady. And so I'm going to give you this proclamation real quick. Just basically has your name on it. It has all the signatures of myself and the council members that recognizes everything you did to get this accomplishment in your whole wrestling career that we got from your coaches. And another thing, too, I'd like to give you, and I don't pass this out too often. You got one already? That's right, from the soccer team. I'm going to give you another one, all right? So you can put this in a different glass case. However, that's right, you did get one. So, challenge coin for citizens that do great things. So you know how to receive it, right? Remember when I gave it to you last time? You have to hold your hand out. You have to shake hands. I have to hand it to you. Say good luck. All right. So, Madison, thank you very much. We're proud of you, and I know we'll see you back here again soon, all right? You bet. And here's what we'll do. Hold it like that. You just kind of hold it like that. Thank you. Thanks, Madison. we have, before we actually start the official council meeting, we have public hearings on 6 ordinances that were read into first readers at the last council meeting. The first public hearing is going to be on Charter Resolution number 300 concerning Section 18C for non-elected acting officials. This is a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland and Sections 33 and 34 of the City Charter to amend City Charter Section 18C, generally pertaining to certain non-elected acting officials, establishing duties and requirements for certain non-elected acting officials. Is there anybody here in the audience this evening who has come here to speak on Charter Resolution number 300? Any questions or comments among the council members? Okay, without any questions or comments from the public or the council, I now close public hearing on Charter Resolution number 300. The second public hearing will be on ordinance number 1141 concerning approving budget amendment 2024-07 to increase spending for engineering services related to new development. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace by authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Section 37 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, for the purpose of amending the city budget for fiscal year 2024 to address additional allocation of funds for the city of Havre de Grace for fiscal year 2024. Is there anybody in the audience this evening here to speak on ordinance 1141? Any comments from the council? Okay, without any comments from citizens or the council, I now close public hearing on ordinance 1141. The time is 7:30. Third public hearing this evening is going to be on ordinance 1142 concerning amending chapter 155 pertaining to site plan approval. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend Chapter 155 site plan approval. Is there any members in the audiences here that are here this evening to speak on ordinance 1142? Are there any comments among the council members? Okay. Without any further comments from the audience or the council, I now close public hearing on ordinance 1142. The time is 7:31. Fourth public hearing this evening will be on ordinance 1143 concerning amending chapter 25 pertaining to Water and Sewer Commission and Marina Commission. It's an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend Chapter 25 pertaining to Water and Sewer Commission and Marina Commission. Is there anybody in the audience this evening here to speak on ordinance 1143? Comments from the council?
Yeah, just one.
Councilmember Boger.
Yeah, just one. I think this is great. I really appreciate the members of the audience taking this into consideration. It basically just allows some of the commissions to actually elect a citizen chair. So I appreciate the attendance and appreciate understanding.
Thank you, Councilmember Boger. Any other questions or comments? Without any further questions or comments, I now close public hearing on ordinance 1143. The time is 7:32. The fifth public hearing this evening will be on ordinance 1144 concerning amending Chapter 97 Historic Preservation. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the annotated Code, of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend Chapter 97 Historic Preservation Commission. Is there anybody in the audience this evening here to speak on ordinance 1144? Any comments from council? Without any comments from the audience or the council, I now close public hearing on ordinance 1144. The time is now 7:34. The sixth and final public hearing for this evening will be on ordinance 1145 concerning amending chapter 196 pertaining to city water capital cost recovery charge. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E, the Maryland Constitution, the local government article, the annotated Code of Maryland, sections 33, 34, and 71 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, amending City Code Chapter 196 and Exhibit A thereto with respect to the city water capital cost recovery charge. So what I do know I have some people here to speak on 1145. What I'll do is I will call on the citizens who filled out a form first to speak, and after that I will open up the floor to anybody who wishes to speak on 1145. So I have 1, 2, 3, 3 forms that people filled out to speak on ordinance 1145, and when those speakers are done, I'll open up the floor at large. I'd like to call forward Mr. Clark Turner. Good evening, Mr. Turner, and welcome to the council meeting. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm Clark Turner at 508 Commerce Street, Havre de Grace, Maryland. And I first want to preface, I have 2 comments, but I want to preface it by saying that we are not opposed to paying our fair share or paying for impacts that we create. So with that in mind, my comments are this, that on this bill, we have not been able to yet see the copy of the water study. So it's a little hard for us to intelligently comment on it and say it. And I know the mayor and Pat are going to try and get us one of those, but this just came up. We haven't had a chance to read that. And it could be at the end of reading it, we say, hey, this is perfectly justifiable. Or it could be that say that, gee, maybe this isn't our impact, this is something different. And I think it would be a good idea to have our engineers put their eyes on it, and some of the people that did the initial studies for Bully Rock be able to help us so that we can intelligently comment on it. So I don't know if it's something that we could vote on after we get a copy of this and can give comments to you. So that's my first comment. My second comment is that we do custom homes. So when we sign a contract, we probably spend 2 to 3 months getting drawings done, meeting with customers, getting their changes, getting a custom set of architectural drawings. So we're about 2 to 3 months from the time we sign a contract to getting a permit. And in this case, we've signed contracts not knowing till this week that this bill is in here. And I didn't know that if it isn't a fair thing to say, is there some grandfathering that should occur, that now that we have notice and contracts that were signed prior to this date, that there be some mechanism where we don't have to take the burden of all that. We can adjust the prices, but once we've signed the contract, we can't go back and change that. So those are my 2 comments, and I kind of want to close by giving a little bit of insight. Maybe a lot of people weren't around when Bully Rock was first done, but Bully Rock paid the entire cost to build the water tower. And the Public Works Director then came back and wanted it to be even bigger so that it could serve a more expanded area of coverage. So not only did we pay 100% of that cost for that, we also paid 100% of the cost for a sewer pump station and a line to go right to the sewer plant, so that to make the investment in Bully Rock, we felt like we could continue to build out the number of houses that we have. And just to kind of put it into perspective, so far, Bully Rock has paid over $20 million in water and sewer hookup fees. The houses that we're trying to finish now are an additional $14 million that we will pay. Those houses with the $14 million have an estimated value of $378 million of tax base, which is another $2 million to the city of Havre de Grace. So I think those things go a long way to providing the monies that you need to do the infrastructure improvements that you need. And if we can just see the study and make sure that we understand it, could it be that the study was done before the hospital was gone and now we don't have that impact? That's a different. Could it be that the water we sold to Aberdeen will make a difference in the study? We don't know that until we look at it. Could it be that the valve at the Hathaway property on the water line that was closed off nearly when that was opened up, was the study done before that? So I just think it's fair for us to look at the study, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Councilmember Boyer.
Just a quick question, Mr. Turner. The $14 million, that is based off of the current fee.
That's the current fee,
That's
not the
future.
additional
Okay.
one. That would only add to the revenue.
I'd like to call forward Earl Robinson. Good evening, Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the council meeting. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Sure. Thank you for allowing us to speak on behalf of this evening. My name is Earl Robinson, 480 Copeland Road, Falston, Maryland.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to speak and echo what Mr. Turner said, that we have not seen any of the study. We'd like to have some more information before this does become into effect. And I also wanted to echo that we want to talk about affordability. And we already are handed some of the highest fees, if not the highest permit fees in the state. So continuing to add on that, especially when you look at the average sales price here versus, for example, Montgomery County, that's the only jurisdiction I can think of that I'm aware of that has higher fees than Havre de Grace. But the average sales price is clearly much higher than what is here. And we are dealing with excessive price increases on the construction of our homes. I see on television that inflation is 6, 7, 8%. That is not what we have seen. We have seen 30 to 40% increases in the construction of our homes since pre-COVID. And folks will say, well, lumber's come down. Well, it's not down to pre-COVID levels, but everything else is up. So adding more costs absolutely takes away from affordability for our home buyers. And we would just like to table this until we had a chance to review this, review the study. Nothing more than that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. I'd like to call forward Mr. Have your name right, Brad Stover. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
You got it. Sorry about my lawyer handwriting.
That's okay. I'm a school teacher, so I'm pretty good at.
For the record, Bradley R. Stover, 124 North Main Street, Bel Air, Maryland, 21014. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'm a history buff too, and I did not think I would come into a city council meeting where we almost have a direct tie to Teddy Roosevelt. There's about a 6-week gap between when Teddy Roosevelt passed and Fine Citizen was born, and that's pretty cool to have a tie to a Mount Rushmore president. So I digress. I'm a history geek.
It's amazing. You know, 105 really makes you think about just how long that really is, you know?
Yeah, it really does.
Yep.
It really does.
Well, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Some of you know me by trade. I'm an attorney, been an attorney in Harford County for about 25 years. Been primarily land use, real estate. I've certainly had the opportunity to come before the Board of Appeals here in the city. It's always a well-run experience. In speaking with folks in the development and builder community, and I'm going to echo a little bit Mr. Turner and Mr. Robinson, it's not often that the lawyer gets his words taken away, but there are concerns when I speak to my clients and engineers who represent my clients with the nature of the increase of the fee. As Mr. Robinson said, this is probably, percentage of price, one of the highest in the state. Certainly, we understand the costs go up. We get that. And we understand that there are real concerns with the water study, be that as it relates to current issues and as they could relate to future issues. We would like the opportunity to study that with our engineers, and I would reiterate the request made to table it. But I do want to make clear on behalf of, for myself, and dealing with the business and development community, we're here to work with you guys, and we really want to sit down with you guys and look at that water study and see how can we help? How can we be a part of the solution? Yes, it's important to these guys to keep their costs down. Yes, it's important to make sure that the water study is treating them fairly, but we really want to work with you guys. So I would make myself available, and I'm sure that many of the folks in the room would too, to sit down and go over that study. And we would request that it be tabled until we have the opportunity to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so I went through my the forms I think I had that were pre-filled out for ordinance 1145. So I will now open up 1145 to the floor. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak. Yes, ma'am. Good evening and welcome to the meeting. May you please have your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Amy DePietro, 3445A Box Hill Corporate Center Drive, Abingdon, Maryland 21009.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to echo mostly what Mr. Turner, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Stover stated. But my profession is I'm a licensed civil engineer with Morrison Ritchie Associates. We are the company that designed Bully Rock and the water system there. When I heard about this rate increase, I wanted to just come here and express my same concern and my offer of assistance. This just seems awfully fast. If we could take a look at the study, if there's anything that I've learned in my 20 plus years of engineering experience, there's not always one answer or one way to do things. I would like the opportunity to sit down with the folks that prepared the study, review it with our engineers, and just put our heads together, see if we can come up with some cheaper solutions and something that might work better and be a little bit more palatable. So again, I would just want to echo the request to table this until we have a chance to know more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Robertson.
Hey, just for everybody's awareness, the way that ordinances are passed in the city, and maybe you're tracking, but I keep hearing the word table. So it's introduced, usually the following meeting, which is this one, there's a public hearing, and then at the next meeting it would be taken up under consideration, and that would happen in April. So we have some time before any vote would occur between now and the next council meeting. And also there's certainly the opportunity to delay that if there's a need between us and between you guys.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Anyone else in the audience this evening wish to speak on 1145? Any further comments from the council?
Mr. Mayor, with respect to the speakers, I'd like to call for a short recess if we can to seek legal advice from our attorney to consider some of the issues that were brought up by the commenters.
Any objections, council? Fair enough. We'll do that right after public comment, all right? Before we start the council meeting. Okay. Any further questions or comments?
Do we have to go into closed session for that?
You can recess for legal advice for during the meeting. You can do that. And then we'll just do a closed session notice after the fact.
And there shouldn't be a vote, so we won't
No,
have
there
to
won't be any
record that.
votes. It's just for legal advice.
Okay. Without any further questions or comments from the public or any questions from the council, I now close public hearing on ordinance 1145. The time is 7:47. And we actually haven't even started a council meeting yet because we've just been doing recognitions and public hearings.
I'm glad we did Miss Mabel already.
I know.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into a quick recess real quick, and we shouldn't be too long. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Havre City Council meeting. The date is May 18th, 2024. The time is 8:21. And we will call the roll. Council President.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Schnegas.
Here.
Councilmember Boger.
Here.
We have all council members accounted for. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could ask everybody to please kindly remain standing as I call forward Reverend Lynn Humphreys Russ. Here this evening? I didn't see her earlier. Okay, for opening prayer? Okay, at that point, I will hand it over to the council spiritual guidance of the council president.
Please bow your heads. Supreme Architect of the universe, we invoke thy blessing at this time. May this meeting thus begun in order be conducted in peace and close in harmony. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Council President. Item number 5, the approval of the minutes from the City Council meeting March 4th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Okay.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer and seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes of March 4th, 2024 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Item 6 is comments from citizens. This is the part of the council meeting. If you have any comments on agenda items or any part of, if you want to discuss any other matters of city business, now's the time to do so. What I will do is anyone that pre-filled out a speaking form, I will call on that citizen first. And when we're done with the forms, I will open up the floor to anyone at large who wishes to speak. So I'll just, no particular order here. And again, I hope I pronounce names correctly. Sabrina Zanino. Hey, I said it right. Awesome, awesome. Okay, well, welcome to the council meeting. If we can have your name and address, I'd appreciate it.
Sabrina Zanino from Marine Ray Boutique at 452 Franklin Street, Havre de Grace 210.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm on the agenda. I submitted an application to host a first annual Mother's Day Mart on May 11th, 2024 on Franklin between Union and St. John. It's my hope this event will bring several hundred people into town, and I want to do everything to celebrate moms that day. So I want it to be all about moms that day. I'm hoping it'll also bring a lot of revenue to other businesses downtown. I know there's some other things happening the same day, so hopefully we'd have a whole bunch of people down there, curly-haired wigs and caftans and all. I want to give the downtown businesses first priority to set up on Franklin Street. It would be free of charge for all those businesses that are currently in the area. After that, I would open it up to outside vendors to pay to have a spot on that street. I actually have several businesses that are ready to sign up if this gets approved. I kind of stuck it out there a little bit ahead of time in hopes, fingers crossed. I'm happy to have the Havre de Grace Arts Collective and Gallery as my sponsor. I know they'll do a great job of helping me promote this event. And just thank you guys. Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for considering it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Next person I'm going to call up, well, first name's John. Second name, I don't know if it's a C-A-N or a C-A-R. N. Cannoli. Okay, all right. Welcome, John. Sorry.
Even though you're a school teacher, you couldn't read that.
Well, I didn't. You got me on that one.
Sorry.
Welcome, sir. May we have your name and address for the record?
Yeah, John Knowles, 613 North Stoke Street, Havre de Grace.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm here tonight representing the Havre de Grace Green Team, and we're in support of the resolution to allow the Green Team to support or to obtain the Bird City designation through the American Bird Conservancy. The designation will celebrate Havre de Grace's long history as a destination for duck hunting and its current role as a central location for bird watching and nature appreciation. The Green Team has obtained partnerships with the Environmental Center at the Maritime Museum, the Lockhouse Museum, the Harford County Bird Club, and the Chamber of Commerce to continue to promote bird appreciation and education through programming and other activities. In our application to the Bird City designation, we will highlight existing bird-focused educational opportunities within the city, including the Decoy Museum, the Arts Collective bird sculptures on the Promenade Pier, existing environmental signage or informational signage, and other programming. We anticipate that Bird City designation will allow the Green Team to provide additional recreation and educational opportunities to the residents of Havre de Grace, and we hope it will help attract out-of-town visitors to Havre de Grace for future bird appreciation events and programs. The city's adoption of the resolution is required as part of the Bird City designation process, so we hope that you will support that, and thank you for allowing the Green Team to provide their support for the initiative.
Councilmember Boyer.
Can you answer just a quick question? So a lot of people aren't necessarily birders. Can you explain what we're really talking about? So occasionally there are specific, like special species that come through our area, and then what happens?
Well, the Bird City designation is probably more focused on the regular birds and getting people out and familiar with those birds. There are occasionally unusual species that show up in town. In 2018, there was a black-throated gray warbler, which I don't see anybody bursting into excitement, but it did bring a lot of people to town. There's actually on eBird, which is a mapping thing, there's a hot spot set up in Havre de Grace where the warbler was seen, and so that would bring people into town. More recently, there was an ash-throated flycatcher at the Susquehanna State Park. Those are western species that just ended up here kind of out of the blue. But we'd like to try, there's 151 species of birds that can be seen at North Park just regularly throughout the year, so we'd like to try to highlight that and get people from the rest of the county and the region to come consider Havre de Grace a good birding spot.
And what can residents do on their own properties in order to make it more bird friendly?
Well, depending on where you live and in the city, you can do plantings to attract birds. I know we've got Bee City designation and we're doing some stuff with the city, but we're also encouraging private landowners to plant bee pollinator friendly habitat. That's also works well for the birds. You can also do bird feeding and that sort of stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, I'd like to invite up Mr. Will Murdoch. Good evening, Will. Welcome.
How are we doing, guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good, buddy. Can we please have your name and address for the record?
Sure. It's Will Murdoch, 1801 Marcher Court Street.
Welcome.
I saw the note that I was supposed to keep it to 3 to 5. I'm going to do my best. I started crossing out lines already, so I'm going to try and keep it super tight here. So thank you guys for inviting me to come and tabling the discussion of the running festival at the last meeting when I was not here. So the Susquehanna River Running Festival is a half marathon, 10K and 5K running and walking event that started here in Havre de Grace. The event began in 2018 after many years of efforts from Sean McCone, Dominic Corson, Donna Lewis, and Ken Zorbach, who are here tonight, and a small group of volunteers at the Sesky Foundation. It was created as a fundraiser for the Scholarship Fund, which awards $1,000 scholarships to male and female high school students who demonstrate excellence in their sports and in their communities. Organizing an event that takes place in 2 counties and crosses over a state highway bridge is no small feat. And the team at the Sesky Scholarship Fund spoke with county executives and law enforcement agencies and this city council to get the approvals to move forward. And while nobody really knew what to expect, Mayor Martin and many others believed in the potential of this event to draw people to this beautiful city and have a positive impact on the community. September 15th, 2018 was the first race, 1,300 people, 3 distances, and my company, Charm City Run, was fortunate enough to be a part of that. The reviews from that race were amazing, and I knew that this event had the potential to be very special. 2 years later, COVID comes through, and obviously, among many more serious things, basically destroyed the live events industry. And so the race went virtual and spent the next 18 months trying to claw itself back. So it definitely would have been an easy thing to just give up at that point, but that's not the way that the Sesky folks roll. So 2022, just over 1,000 people registered for the race, starting to rebound, but the Sesky volunteers were tired. They have families and jobs and other commitments, and they were doing this basically on the side just because they loved the scholarship fund and the communities that this race ran. So I spoke with Sean in 2022, and Charm City Run decided to come in and take a bigger role in the event. So last year I got up in front of the council to pitch you guys again on approving the running festival, and we discussed some of the concerns that the council had. And again, Mayor Martin reminded us that the vision that we had from the very start, which was to create a marquee event that would attract visitors and shine a light on this beautiful city and make us all proud. Basically reminding us that we needed to kind of get bigger or kind of get going. So after the meeting, I spoke with Chief Walter, and I pledged the support of the needs of her department financially, as well as coordinate with extra traffic control personnel if we needed. And we got to work. Long story short, last year we were outpacing 2018's numbers, the highest numbers on date. We convinced ASICS, the international athletic footwear and apparel brand, to come on board with us, and they wanted to support this race and the vision that we had. With Captain Crass's leadership as the incident commander, law enforcement resources were recruiting from Harford County to supplement the Havre de Grace team, and the public safety needs were met without having to secure those additional traffic control professionals. So last year, we registered 1,806 runners and walkers, which was a 72% increase over 2022's final number, and a 38% increase over the previous registration record in 2018. Run Sign Up, which is a registration platform that kind of compiles data on the running industry, noted that races of a similar size experienced a 7% decrease in registrations from 2019 to 2023, and this race experienced a 45% increase. So we were really excited and things were going to be great, and then Mother Nature stepped in. So that week, the forecast was kind of changing around, but as time went on, it looked worse and worse. So we got on the phone with our public safety team and leaned on them to get guidance for our decisions. Safety is our number one priority, above anything else. And so, the thought of having to scrap the event, it was tough. But at the same time, we knew it was what we had to do. So when that forecast became pretty certain, we notified everybody. And because, we were in it for the long haul, we made the situation right with our registrants by giving them a credit for half of what they paid to sign up. It was definitely a gut punch, but it was what we felt was right. So I'm here tonight to express our desire to keep that event going and to build on the success that we were starting last year. I understand that hosting an event of this type and size is not without its inconveniences. Road closures impact the ability of residents and visitors to move freely throughout the town. We've done our best to mitigate these closures by designing a course that, after the initial trip down Union, uses perimeter roads like Water, St. John, and Market Streets. Parking restrictions can also be inconvenient. The police department puts these restrictions in place to ensure the safety of participants during the event, and that is our number one goal. We try to limit these parking restrictions to only the times and streets that are absolutely necessary. Last year, we sent out an every door direct mail piece through the Postal Service to every address in Havre de Grace and Perryville. We placed lawn signs at critical intersections along the course Thursday before race week to alert motorists of the upcoming event and provide a website where they could learn more. As leaders in this community, I am sure you receive feedback from residents when these inconveniences occur. It's been my experience that often this negative feedback doesn't come from a disdain for the event or the cause, but rather just a lack of communication. My goal for this event is not to be a source of frustration and negativity. So I would welcome any ideas that you guys could offer to help spread the word about the race to make sure people have appropriate advance notice. I'm I'm also happy to respond to any complaints myself as to not burden the city into being a go-between. Because as you guys know, sometimes it just takes a minute to listen and have a conversation to kind of calm things down. I know that also attention has been drawn to the economic benefit of the event on Havre de Grace. It can definitely be tough to justify inconveniences when it feels like the costs outweigh the benefits. So to start, the race has covered police and public works costs each year. While it's not a blank check, I am committed to covering these costs as to not burden the city or its residents. I'll be honest and tell you that I don't have a fancy economic impact analysis for this event. I'm getting there. I could not tell you how many people stay in Havre de Grace the night before the race or for the whole weekend, how many people sit down for a dinner the night before, grab lunch after, or shop the stores downtown. But I am working with the folks at Visit Hartford to access these resources that will help answer some of these questions. And I can let you know that 17% of the folks from last year came from out of state. We had 24 states represented. And with races starting at 8 a.m., it's pretty safe to say that most people who live, an hour outside of Havre de Grace are likely to stay in a hotel before. And it seems unlikely that these folks are just going to run the race and then head out of town without at least grabbing a bite to eat. Again, I would welcome any assistance you guys could provide in drawing attention to these local restaurants and attractions that our folks could take advantage of while they're in town. So at the end of the day, in my 3 to 5 minutes, I'm looking for a partnership. I want to host an event that's embraced and supported by the community where it's held. I want to know that the leadership is committed to doing what it can to help make this event the best it can be, and in turn that I am personally committed to being accountable for what the Running Festival brings, good and bad. I want to be more involved, and I would love your help in identifying local nonprofits and community groups that could be involved with the race and raise funds to support their causes. The Susquehanna River Running Festival cannot and will not be successful if the city of Havre de Grace does not support it. I envision a time when the race is just second nature. Everybody knows the day every year. Neighbors cheer on the runners and walkers from their porches, and the running festival is a source of pride and accomplishment for everyone. I hope you'll not only support the race with your approval, but participate. Run, walk, volunteer, sing the national anthem, hand out medals or water, shake hands, whatever you guys are comfortable with, but you are all welcome. And I promise that when you see a mom cross the finish line with her child or a wheelchair athlete round the final corner to the cheers of spectators, it will change you. 4 minutes and 59 seconds, I'm sure.
Thank you, Will. Any questions for Will? Okay, we'll start with Councilmember Boger.
Right. So one of the things, after looking over the packet and looking at some of the finances received by the police department, I didn't see any types of reimbursements that were provided for costs from our DPW. There's nothing actually mentioned any type of reimbursement for those particular costs. Secondly, the application was actually filled out as the Albert Casey Scholarship Fund, which took a little bit of legwork on our end to actually find out that it was actually Sesky, right?
Sesky, yeah.
All right, so the application is incorrect. Also, the high school scholarships, right? So there's mention that there's been that you supported the scholarship for Havre de Grace High School. Can you give me any years that that was conducted and what the dollar amounts were?
Ken can answer that question. Yep, he's the president of the Sesky Fund.
Fantastic.
Every year, two students from Havre de Grace receive $2,000. Come up to the microphone. Oh, okay.
Yeah, folks at home won't be able to hear you.
So every year, two students from Havre de Grace receive $2,000 automatically that are nominated from Havre de Grace High School. They're also in the running for a $5,000 scholarship, which is the grand prize. There have been Havre de Grace winners for the grand prize in years past. So total, we give $54,000 a year out to Hartford County students.
That's $54,000 in Hartford County. I'm really focused on Havre de Grace. Mm-hmm. That's really the answers I seek.
So we give $4,000 out to Havre de Grace students every year.
Okay.
That's a minimum. In some years, it might be $5,000 more depending where they fall.
And one more question too. They said that there's reviews from some of the former races, right? So some of those reviews came from participants, or they come from Havre de Grace citizens? Who gave those rave reviews? Are you members?
Well, I know
Anything come to
from
mind?
past races, the reviews came from the runners themselves,
Okay.
praising what a nice town it is.
How many of those, and how many of those, or percentage-wise, are Havre de Grace residents?
I don't have that number in front of me, but I could certainly get it to you.
Okay, that would be helpful as well.
Sure.
And I'll just add that this event, it somewhat does isolate the waterfront from the rest of the town. And this is a town that continues to expand south and west of Route 40. It's actually it's pretty tough to take this on, and I understand where you're going with this, right? But this is a heavy lift on the citizens in the town of Havre de Grace. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Boger. Councilmember Robertson?
Thank you. Hang on one second. Yeah, I'm trying to write down things as I'm thinking of them, so I don't forget them. What level of sponsorships would you say you already have committed this year or plan to commit? You said A6 was one for last year. That's a pretty well-known international brand.
Yep. They're the title sponsor. We also have a presenting sponsor. Upper Chesapeake is our presenting sponsor again.
They're still? Okay.
And then other smaller level sponsorships that haven't been confirmed yet for this year.
Yeah, because I'm doing the calculus and, trying to figure out between your registration fees, sponsorships, what level of funding you're working with, because as has been stated, and if you watched the last meeting, it is a concern, the entire cost of putting on the event to the city's taxpayers between DPW and police, and then the burden on our police department at the same time, because the season is just so short for all of the nonprofits in the area to take advantage of their fundraising efforts, and for the city to support that. There carries significant cost and a lot of time for our folks and all that. So that's something that we have to be cognizant of. Are you committed to this date? Okay, there's no way to work around that date. See, the Seafood Festival is going on at the same time.
Yep.
And as you alluded to, cutting off traffic from that side of town certainly presents a challenge. I mean, last year that was the case as well, but with the weather, your event did not go off, so that is what it is. But you can't negotiate a different date.
That would be incredibly challenging at this point. Yeah, just like for you, our season is very tight too. So we manage, this year we'll manage about 50 races. And September and October are the busiest months of the entire year. So yeah, to shift the date now from the 21st would be very challenging.
Okay, and for the foundation, is this like your primary fundraising effort for the year?
This is the primary fundraiser for the Susky Foundation, yep.
Gotcha. All right. I very much like the event. I think it's something cool. It's something unique for the entire region. I'm definitely a proponent, but we really have to consider a lot of factors, and some of that is to do with our businesses, specifically the waterfront businesses, marinas, the schools that take place, and then the other events that are going on, and of course our staffing needs. So we'll untable this evening. That's the plan. I have a couple of amendments. Hopefully you guys could be amenable to those as well. One of which is looking at making this not an annual event, but an every 2 or 3 year event. I know that would significantly impact your fundraising efforts, but again, we don't have a lot to work with here.
Gotcha. I do want to, again, state that the police and the DPW costs are covered.
Yeah, so they're not covered. We have the actual cost of the officers,
Mhm.
and then the OPCs, you know, their taxes, their retirement funds, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then what you guys cover is the overtime, which is over and above like the regular time. So for the number of hours that those police are working,
Mhm.
the city still has to carry, I would say 2/3 of the total cost.
Is that the fully loaded wage that's in this?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's what looks like is being calculated for DPW and PD. The worksheet for this year shows a total of 31,865 and 52 cents. The math doesn't quite work out on that for 140 hours for the police at 115 an hour. That only comes out to 16,1, and the sheet shows 24,150. But still, I mean, we're looking at between those two, $23,000 in costs that are covered. So I'm under the impression that all these costs are covered, the police costs and DPW.
So the only thing I received from Sean were the invoiced police costs from the last few years.
Mhm.
And those were, the highest was around $6,000. And again, that would only appear to cover overtime, not the
Gotcha.
fully loaded wage. So, I mean, there's still a significant cost burden to consider, you know, from the citizens' perspective. Unless you guys want to take on that full weight, then that's a different conversation.
I mean, the idea, I mean, to be completely honest, it would be great if the city did have some skin in the game, to be completely honest, because the success of the race is only dependent on how much support the city's willing to give. It would be incredibly challenging to swim upstream, you know, in a place that seems like it doesn't want you there. So, that's what I'll say to that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Councilmember Shenanigans.
Good evening, and welcome back.
Thank you.
I was curious as to the fact that you had to cancel last year's event
Mhm.
and that you have the awards already pre-made for the winners.
Mhm.
For the winners, are you able to recover any cost on that by getting name plaques replaced or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
we are for the awards, luckily. So, yeah, there's some costs that are definitely sunk and gone, but there's some stuff that we can get creative with. So, yep, I've got lots of decoys.
That's very good. I'm glad to hear that. I know that the event winners they always feel blessed. Only have they've accomplished a goal, but yet then they get something tangible to remind them of that goal.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
that's great. And I've been able to be a part of your organization as a volunteer, and I see the capacity of people that come in from around the state, from other states. I see volunteers helping. I think it's a very worthy event, and I see that, you know, it is a one day, once a year, and we have a lot of events that coincide, like the seafood and wine festival that comes in, and it too has been around similar amount of time as you, and they're on the same day. So I think it's a one-day time where we can all be a little inconvenienced to bring people to our city, to showcase who we are here in Havre de Grace. And I know that, you know, the downtown takes the brunt of it, but we also, the businesses and, you know, people getting to meet new people and, you know, just growing our city and showing it off is a beautiful cause. So I hope that things work out in favor of being able to raise the funds for the students, because that's very important for them to be able to further their livelihood and dreams. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Will, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the questions. Thank you. Okay, my next speaker actually has two forms filled out. Maybe she can address both topics. Former council member Carolyn Zinner. Hello, Carolyn. Welcome back. Good to see you.
So much. Okay.
Name and address for the record, so we know where you
Carolyn
live.
Zinner, 505 Concord Street.
Ah, check
My new
you out.
address, right.
Downtown
So,
girl.
I'm actually here to support the running event, as I did last year. I believe a lot of what Will has said. I didn't really prepare a lot of remarks for this particular discussion, but now that I'm in Concord Street, I'm going to be impacted by the street closures. I still believe in the mission of the race. I believe that it's a positive thing for Havre de Grace because it's the only event like it that we hold with all of the festivals that we have. The other thing that I brought up last year, and I'm going to bring up again this year, is that it used to be, or it maybe still is, that when you had secured a particular date, that you could have that date again. The running festival precedes the seafood festival. I would think it would be easier, not this year, but to work together and maybe move the seafood festival to another day because they have more flexibility than managing 50 races in a maybe 2-month period. The other thing was when I lived in Perryville, they used to do the Diamond in the Rough triathlon. And people did come out. I went out every year and with my neighbors, and we stood there and we handed out water cups like this for the runners because by that time that was the end of their race. And we stayed afterwards and we picked up all those cups. And there were many hundreds of Dixie cups that we were picking up for the runners that were throwing the water on their heads, throwing it on their faces, that sort of thing, to get some kind of refreshment. So I do believe that it's a benefit for the city. I believe that having athletes come through the city that way is a good role model for young people. And I also believe that maybe if there was a different way to do the advertising, I cannot remember how Diamond and Rough did it, but we always knew when it was. It was always the same time around 4th of July. And there were plenty of volunteers. So maybe we have to look at other organizations that do this and need volunteers to support the runners and follow that model and maybe get people out to do that sort of thing and also to do the cleanup for the runners. So that's all I have to say about that, but I imagine I will be impacted this year. So I'm not speaking from experience since it'll be my first time here, but I still believe in the mission and the positive impact that having something different than than many of the other festivals that we have is a benefit to the city. Thank you.
Is there another topic you want to talk about?
I have 2 other comments that are not on.
I'm sorry,
the
I
agenda.
just know you filled out 2 forms.
Right, that's why I filled out 2 forms.
Yeah.
I have 2 other things that are not on the agenda.
But you can talk about it now.
Oh, I can?
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean, this
fine.
is, yeah, you
All
can,
right.
this is it. This is the
So the
talk
first
time.
thing I want to talk about is the legislation in Annapolis. And I am so grateful for people who have stood up against this housing idea legislation. I did go with Adam to testify, and unfortunately, I was not able to get my testimony in on time. I was rewriting it and making sure that I was within the 2 minutes, and when I went to upload it, I could not upload it. But what I would have said that day was that one size does not fit all, and that I think this is something that we have to continue to press upon the delegates in Annapolis. I'm proud of our record of affordable housing and our diversity in the city, and I do believe that municipalities have every right to continue to legislate their zoning, and considering that they've all done a 10-year plan, that to throw that away. But one of the things that struck me was when the director of, or the Secretary of Housing spoke, and I wasn't aware of what he was going to say before I had prepared my comments. And one of the things was, when talking about critical facilities, he had mentioned that the people that will be taking advantage of this housing already live in the community, so they're not going to impact schools, they're not going to impact traffic, they're not going to impact water and sewer. And when I thought about it, I thought to myself, well, I don't know how that could be possible. And there was one delegate who questioned him and said she wanted to see the data, and that was a delegate from Baltimore County. And she said she believed him, but she wanted to see the data. And I don't know how you get a community to move en masse that has these needs and not expect that people are going to fill that void. The landlords are not going to stop renting. People are not going to stop selling houses because other people in the community have moved into other housing. And I think that's a little nearsighted to say that it's not going to impact these facilities, these critical facilities. So I just would like to ask the citizens to continue to fight and to bring up cogent reasons why the governing needs to stay at the municipal level and not at the state level, because the farther away we get from the source, the less sense this legislation makes, and one size just does not fit all for the whole entire state. So that's my comments about that. Yes.
If I can respond and give you good news, today's crossover day down in Annapolis, and both SB 484 and HB 538 failed. They stayed in committee and never made it out.
Well, I want to thank everybody who spoke out against it and gave the reasons why. Well, thank you for that good news. I wasn't aware of that. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was everyone's favorite, the Martha Lewis. She has finally had her sea trials, and she's getting ready to leave Cambridge after, I think she got there around 2018. And then, of course, she was not operational since probably 2012. So after 12 years, she is finally completely on the mend. Not that she's not going to need other resources to keep her up, but she will be, right now they're planning to try to move her weather permitting on April 1st. But it is, and one of the things that they want to do is to go to Charleston, plan a fundraiser, and then come here to Havre Grace and also plan a fundraiser, and by that time have the resources for the liability insurance. So there's a lot of information on the Martha Lewis Facebook page, and people are responding. So finally some good news there. So I had some good news to share. You had some good news to share with me. Thank you very much. That's the end of my comments.
Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Okay, that's all my pre-filled out forms. I will now open the floor at large. Anybody wishes to speak, please raise your hand. Sir. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, senior staff. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I do want to speak in support of the Running Festival. And as a quick little story, in the fall of 2021, my wife and I were doing a grand tour looking where we wanted to retire. And we went to Asheville, Chapel Hill, Williamsburg, and we came up to Havre de Grace. And we were staying down in Edgewood, and I think we had a realtor appointment on a Saturday afternoon, and we said, well, let's go up to Havre de Grace, go for a run. And we saw there was a promenade there, so well, let's go give that a try. So we came up there, and that day happened to be also the Running Festival. And we got up around 10:30. It had pretty much wound down by that time. But we went for our run. We saw there was a running festival. There was also another festival. I guess it was the seafood festival. We go, wow, this is a cool place. You know, this place is happening. This is the kind of place we could live. And so we moved in 2022, and we ran in the festival that year. And it was great, really well run. I was surprised at the time I had. And we signed up last year, and we were all disappointed that we couldn't get to run. And I tell you what, I signed up right away again this year. So I have my ticket and my registration all set. So I'm a resident who really enjoys and really supports the Running Festival, and I hope you all would too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Chip, would you mind just stating your full name for the record?
Sorry, I forgot. Chip Place, 301 Cigar Loop.
And your running time, for the record.
I did the 5K in a little under 30 minutes, which surprised me, but it's pretty decent. Okay,
That's better than me. I do mine under 30 days, so it's okay. Thank you, Chip. Who else wishes to speak? Sir. Good evening and welcome. May you please have your name and address for the record.
Name's Charlie Mike. I'm at 1413 Superior Street, Havre Grace.
Welcome.
First public service announcement. For people coming up like Mrs. Zimmer, people at home probably only heard a very little bit of what you were saying. If you don't bend over and speak into the microphone like I'm doing, when you're at home, when I watch these meetings all the time, you cannot hear the people up here speaking. You stick away like this, they don't hear you. You got to be down. If you don't have a big, deep voice like mine, they don't hear you. So you got to speak into the microphone if you want to be heard at home. All right. I also just, not speaking on this, but I also support the running festival. The Al Sesky Foundation is an outstanding foundation that doles out scholarships to the county folks. And Havre Grace, my stepdaughter, happened to win one of the scholarships some years ago, so it's very, very noble. And like Ms. Zimmer said, I think you guys have put on, we have lots of new festivals that have sprung up over the years. So we do that. I'm sure we can fit in that running festival one way or the other. So my support goes to the running festival also. I want to speak tonight. First, I want to say thanks to Dan Wusinich and the committee, the Water and Sewer Committee, for a very, very detailed and well-presented report. I read it numerous times, and I'm hopeful that all of you did as well, to fully digest its contents and understand it. However, I have two questions, two of the recommendations that the report states. Number one, the thought of another increase, even for a small inflationary increase, is hard to accept. We just had a 10% increase in fiscal year 24, and that brought us up our water and sewer rates to the highest in the county's 3 incorporated towns. Secondly, the statement that the mayor and city council fully understands the seriousness of the condition of Fund 9. I question that a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Here are some facts, questions, and opinions for you all to consider. If you look at fiscal year 23 in the report, we ended on a positive balance. It's outstanding, first time in a while. Why did that happen? Well, we pulled $2 million out of the $13.8 million we received from the ARPA funds. That put us over the top. Okay? 2020, we had the $15 million bond purchase, which was supposed to be used on downtown, old town infrastructure. Mayor, you remember you had your 100-year-old piece of pipe that you'd show here and there and everywhere to make sure the citizens understood the seriousness of this matter. And with that, you know, the citizens overwhelmingly approved it. I was against it at the time, but the citizens approved it. So we got it. Now, I want to ask, how much of this money was spent on the Route 40 Aberdeen water line? Okay? And how many dollars are we currently flushing down the drain, so to speak, on that water line because we can't operate it yet, but it's charged, so we have to keep flushing money out of it. I mean, we're flushing money weekly, monthly on that water line. So we spent a lot of money on that water line out of this $15 million. How much of that money was spent on the Bully Rock water tower? Okay, I'm told that that water tower was built, it was supposed to last 70 to 80 years. And it failed after, what, 20, 22 years? I don't know, but it wasn't very long. So why were we responsible to pay that money? Why didn't we go after the builder, the developer, the builder, whoever? All that's money that came out of the $15 million, which was supposed to be used for the downtown restructuring fee. All right, what percent of the CIP, the capital improvement plan, was made in 2021? What percent of that was completed using this money? The fees that we've been paying since 2016 We're supposed to take care of, number one, the debt service, which we started in 2016, $25 a quarter. Did it in 2016, 2017, extended it for an extra year in 2018. Took it away for a year, but added a rate increase on the water. And then the next year, we started our infrastructure replacement fee of $30 a quarter. That fee is supposed to pay off the interest on the bonds that we bought in 2020. And that appears to be working somewhat. Now we're entering year 6 of losing $550,000 plus per year from sales to Harford County for water. How would that $6+ million look right now if we had it in our budget? Would we be looking at incremental fees, rates, that, increases in rates that the committee is talking about? Because they're looking at the numbers. If we had that money in that, we wouldn't need that. Oh, and did I mention also, in addition to that, we paid, $400,000 to end that? And I know it was a losing deal, but there's reasons that deal was made way back when, and the county didn't play fair with us, but we went ahead and made a bad deal and cut that without looking into it as deep as we should. In summary, City Council, you are voted in to represent us, the citizens of Havre Grace, in our best interests. Not so much the tourists and the visitors that come to town, but the citizens. The tourists and visitors are great, but the citizens, we're the ones that are paying the bills. You have a chance now to really, really help us citizens and Fund 9. You need to put a stop to any more money going into this downtown renovation. It's a beautiful plan. It would be a beautiful thing if it was done, but it's not fiscally feasible. If you have your priorities straight on spending, and the results of fiscal 2023 should be an eye-opener, money left in that fund should be going to the water and sewer. We have a big, big opportunity to fix something that's been broken for a long, long time. This administration, you just can't expect the citizens to pay for some of these decisions that were made. Our water and sewer operation, as well as our DPW crew, they're essential to a healthy and happy Havre Grace. And if you want to attract people to Havre Grace, like everyone wants to do, with having problems with our water and sewer operations, that's the first thing that people look at because of everything going on around the country about water problems. So I think is a time to have a thorough and professional operational study made of our 2 facilities to improve the management of their operations and efficiencies. And finally, should we consider hiring a qualified mechanical or industrial engineer to manage these 2 plants? The money spent on this professional would be much better money spent than having some other high-paid administrative assistants doing some of the work that we've hired in the past couple of years. So I think these are something I really, really would like the council to take under consideration. I'm a lifelong citizen. I care deeply about this town. I've done a lot in this town, and I'll continue to do a lot. But I want to see you guys put Havre Grace first and just let everything come after that. We need to take care of this water and sewer fund. You have the opportunity now. Please don't waste it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in the audience wish to address the council tonight? Any comments from the council? Okay, we'll move on to item number 7. Item number 7 is appointments. This evening we have no appointments. Item number 8 is recognitions, and we recognized everybody would be right before the public comments. And so it takes us to item 9, proclamations. We have no proclamations. Item 10, presentations. We have no presentations. Item 11, Resolutions, we have a resolution. We have two resolutions, actually. Okay, item A, charter resolution. I'm going to hand that off to the council president.
Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens all, I move to introduce charter resolution concerning amending Section 47, eliminating the requirement that the Director of Administration execute a corporate bond before discharging duties, for first reading.
Council, I have a motion by the council president. I have a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Booker. This is a motion to introduce a charter resolution on first reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to pass charter resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this is going to be known as Charter Resolution 301. It's a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and Sections 33 and 34 of the City Charter to amend Sections 47, eliminating the requirement that the Director of Administration execute a corporate bond before discharging duties. Council, I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 301.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Jones, second by the Council President. Questions or comments? Council President.
So this is just a bit of cleaning up our books. Right now in the charter, it says that the Director of Administration needs to execute a corporate bond, meaning he has to be insured before he discharges his duties. That hasn't been our practice in recent years because we have the insurance through the city. So he's covered under that. So there's no need for this. We're just cleaning up the paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions or comments? All right, Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on Charter Resolution 301. Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City of Havre Grace Charter Resolution number 301 is adopted. We will be having a public hearing on this, and the minimum requirement advertisement time will probably take us to, I think, the April 15th meeting, I believe. So we'll have a public hearing on Charter Resolution 301 on April 15th, 2 council meetings from now. Is that okay, Council President?
That's perfect.
All right. Okay, counter resolution, item B. Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to introduce the calendar resolution concerning authorizing the Havre Grace Green Team to apply for the Bird City designation.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. This is a motion to introduce a resolution. Questions or comments on the introduction of this resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed to it say nay. Motion to introduce a resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is going to be known as Counter Resolution 2024-04. 2024-04. Counter resolution concerning authorizing the Havre Grace team, Green Team to apply for Bird City designation. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and Section 33 and 34 of the City Charter to authorize the Havre Grace Green Team Limited to apply for Bird City designation on behalf of the City of Havre Grace. Council, I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 2024-04.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Boger. Questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer.
So you heard it from John. He explained it very, very well. You know, we already have, we're already in Arboretum. We're already a bee city. Now we're going to go for the birds and the bees. And thank you for the giggle. So what these designations do to help us is just another, check mark to show our support for environmental, what we do as a community, and it helps us get opportunities with grants and other things like that. There is very little responsibility on behalf of the city administration, maybe just posting it up on the website that we are a bird city designation. Other than that, the Green Team will be taking on the responsibility for all of the labor associated to it and the application fee, et cetera. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great group of people who are very excited about it. And it's kind of interesting. As you talk to people, you find out that like somebody's a birder that you've never really even knew as you hear about it. So it's the chat among the birds people within our community, and I want to encourage everyone to vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Comment?
Councilmember Boyer, Councilmember Boker did text me. He wanted to know if it's true that bird is the word. All right. So the trashmen were correct back in 1962?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Trashmen
For
are
the
always
record,
correct.
I don't recall that.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Council, is going to be a roll call vote on calendar resolution 2024-04. Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President Ringsager.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Resolution 2024-04 dealing with authorize Havre Grace Green Team to apply for Bird City designations, approved 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you, Council. Another feather in our cap. I wanted to say that. So. Adam, thank you. Good job. Okay, that's it for resolutions. We're going to go to item 12, which is ordinances. And we have 3 ordinances this evening. We're going to go to item A, and that's going to also go to Councilmember Boyer.
Mayor, I move to introduce introduce ordinance 1140 concerning amending Chapter 177, Article 5, tax credits for qualifying first responders in the second reading. Thank you.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Shenagus. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance this is a motion to introduce ordinance 1140 on second reading. Questions or comments on introducing this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1140 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. So ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Havre Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Section 33 and 34 of the Havre Grace City Charter, for the purpose of amending City Code Chapter 177, Article 5, taxation. Council, to have a motion to adopt ordinance 1140 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer?
Just for clarification for everyone, this does a little bit of housekeeping to clarify information so that it is applied evenly, but most significantly, it changes the number of runs to make it more easy for division, to make it nice and smooth and clean. That's the purpose of the changes.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on 1140. Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1140 dealing with Chapter 177, Article 5, tax credits for qualified first responders, passes 6-0 in the affirmative second reading. Council. Item B, it's another second reading. Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce on second reading Budget Amendment 2024-07.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by the Council President. This is a motion to introduce Ordinance 1141 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction of the ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Ordinance 1141 is introduced on second reading and carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace by the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Section 37 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of amending the city budget for fiscal year 2024 to address additional allocation of funds for the city of Havre de Grace for fiscal year 2024. Council, have a motion to adopt ordinance 1141 on second reading.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Councilmember Robertson and seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. Questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson?
Yeah, just to reiterate, this is for the total engineering costs that the city absorbs for new development. This is being funded by the revenues that the city has generated from those fees for folks that are filing.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on 1141. Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Schnegas.
Yes.
Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
I think we need to advance the slides on the screens too, so citizens can see that.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1141 is adopted by council on second reading. Okay, we're going to go to item C. We have a first reading ordinance. Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce Budget Amendment 2024-08.
Council, I have a
Second.
motion by Councilmember Robertson. I have a second.
Second?
Second by Councilmember Schnegas. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance dealing with a budget amendment on first reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be known as Ordinance 1146. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace by the authority of Article 11E of the Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Section 37 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of amending the city budget for fiscal year 2024 to address additional allocation of funds for the city of Havre de Grace for fiscal year 2024. Council, to have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1146 on first reading.
So moved.
I'll do Councilmember Jones, and we'll have second by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments? Questions or comments? Okay. Oh, Councilmember Robertson.
Sorry. I had a song stuck in my head. So this is, the long and short of it is our tourism department, Director Bridget Johnson, Lori O, have been doing a phenomenal job selling Havre de Grace merch. So this is taking some of the proceeds that they've gotten over the past year and increasing their fund line so that they can purchase some more Havre de Grace swag.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on Ordinance 1146, which is also known as Budget Amendment 2024-08. Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Schnegas.
Yes.
Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President.
Yep.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1146, which is Budget Amendment 2024-08, is approved in 6-0 in the affirmative, and public hearing, let's do that on April 1st? All right. Public hearing on 11/46 will be April 1st at the next city council meeting at 7 o'clock. Okay, council, that does it for the ordinances. We're going to go in our old business, item 13. We have 2 items under old business. Both of them are special events. The first one's going to be amendment to the Garden Mart. Dr. Ritchie.
Mayor and council, this is a minor amendment to the Garden Mart. It is an amendment to change the name to Havre Grace Garden Market and change the ending time from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Council, I have a motion to accept Dr. Ritchie's proposed amendment.
So moved.
Motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Jones. Any comments on the amendment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The amendment to the Garden Mart is approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. Item 2, Council President, any action?
None for me. It's at the leisure of the council at all to untable it if they please.
Any motion on table?
I make a motion on table.
Motion by Councilmember Robertson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Schnegus. This is a motion to untable. There's no discussion, just a straight up vote. We need a majority vote to untable. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay.
Nay.
All right. As long as my hearing works, I think we have 5 in favor, 1 against. So the motion to untable carries. And so the event is now untabled and brought up for discussion. Councilmember Robertson made a motion. You have the floor. If you wish for Dr. Ritchie to reintroduce it, or do you wish to comment on it and vote on it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think everybody's aware it's for the running festival. The organizers we heard from this evening. I just want to reiterate, I'm very much in favor of this. We just also have to navigate some of the concerns from our city staff and citizens as well. So with that, I would make the motion to approve the Susquehanna River Running Festival for 2024 with the following conditions: that the organizers sign an MOU with the city to confirm that they reimburse for police overtime, and that the organization will work with the organizers of the Havre de Grace Seafood Festival this year, as well as the businesses impacted, specifically the marina.
Second.
Hold on 1 second. All right, so we're going to vote on the whole running festival with Councilmember Robinson's amendments. Does every council member understand the amendments? Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Okay, questions or comments? Who wants to go first? Anybody? Everybody good? Councilmember Robertson?
I do have just one more thing. So yeah, we are becoming very inundated with events. If you talk to a lot of the citizens that volunteer for them, folks are getting worn out by the number of events, and it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. It's a beautiful place. People want to be here. Our nonprofits need to raise funding. I think that maybe we need to have some considerations offline to former council persons Zinner's comment earlier about the overall city calendar and how we're handling the events coming in, and ensuring that we don't keep running into the issue where several events are being held on the same day.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any other comments or questions? Councilmember Boyer.
I know that there's been concern questioning how many people from the city of Havre de Grace actually participate in the program. I can tell you, not only from my friend group, but people like a couple hands away from that, there's a lot of people from Havre de Grace that are very involved in it. And the fact is that we want to promote ourselves to be basically a college town for adults, a place where adults can grow and thrive. Well, part of that is being a healthy community, and running festivals have a very significant part in that. We used to be a very heavy running community. It's a great course throughout downtown Havre de Grace because it's nice and flat, it's scenic, it's just beautiful. There's tree-lined streets, it's not, inundating of sun on top of you. It's a safe run. And because we've imposed restrictions on it, which are justifiable because it was getting out of control, the amount of runs that we were having, but to have a couple of significant marquee events such as this, which is a draw not just from the greater Havre de Grace area, but also from our region and larger than that, it just makes it so that we have more people who run through our streets and say, hey, Havre de Grace is just an amazing community. They're very supportive of people, and it's a great place to visit, and it's a great place to live. And thank you, Chip, for moving here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Shenegis.
The festival definitely comes through Havre de Grace, and it impacts our community. For one day, a minimum of 4 hours, there's a time period where traffic is shut down. However, those that are in the general vicinity are able to see it from their home. They're able to witness people experiencing an exhilarating part of their life as they accomplish a goal of running, whether it be a 5K, a 10K. And for that moment in time, they schedule it to be a part of it. And people are aware in advance that this event is going to take place. So by working together with the city, with the running festival, with the seafood festival, everybody working together, we can come to a common place where events can happen and help our city continue to thrive and be proud and represent an organization that supports students and athletes and gives back to our community, our officers, and our DPW. And I think that we should continue to include their event as a part of our city's calendar. And, whether it be an annual event or if it's, becomes a couple years where, as Councilmember Robertson had mentioned, maybe, having it every other year. I think that it definitely is an integral part of our community now, and I think that we should allow it to continue and work through any problems that may arise and work together to accommodate everything that comes up. I know the marina is impacted. We also have a new marina. We have the waterfront, Water Street marina where people can access boating. So that is still a possibility, and that was a big concern in the past. So I think we're making improvements, and I think that it would be great if we considered to continue having the running festival in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Jones.
Just real quick. I do agree with what my colleagues have said up here about definitely looking at calendar in the future. If this is something that you want to do going forward, I think that we need, it can't just be assumed that it's going to be on that day. So we need to talk about the calendar more and make sure this fits in line with what we're doing with the city. I also am interested to see, I know that the attendance has remained steady throughout the year, so I'm really interested in seeing the data if we move forward with this event for what we're going to have so we can have a discussion next year as well.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Jones. Any other further questions or comments? Okay, Council, we're going to vote on Councilmember Robertson's motion, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. I'll do this in a roll call vote form. Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenegis?
Yes.
Councilmember Boker?
No.
Council President?
No.
We have 4 votes in the affirmative and 2 votes in the negative. Councilmember Robertson's motion carries. Running Festival will go on. I refrained my comments because I knew this would probably be a controversial topic. I held my comments back and let this up to the legislators. But I will say, I understand the legislators' concerns. I understand the concerns of the citizens. The last couple of years we've had the running festival, I've received a few emails from citizens that were unaware of the event and weren't happy with the traffic pattern for a couple hours, and I kind of chalked it up to perhaps communication could be a little bit better. Perhaps more CTY phone calls could go out. One thing that I know Havre de Grace has proven time and time again is that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We're a city. I tell people that all the time. We're a city. We can have multiple events at once. We're not a town. We have proven that we can wear big pants. And so, for every person that says they don't like all these events in towns, I meet 4 people that tell me they moved there for the same reason. They moved here because there's things going on in Havre de Grace, and there's always something for them to do. So I also know the hard work that has gone in since the inception of this race. It's no small feat. In fact, it's almost like an act of God to shut that bridge down. I mean, the city can never do it. I mean, it took some big muscle to get that bridge to close down. The idea of running to Perryville and back, that's quite a thing to do. And even though personally I do wish it has been a bigger event at this point than what it's become, I know it's under new management. The new management is good management, and I think they should be given a chance to try to take it to where we want to take it. Like I say, in everything in the city of Havre de Grace, you're going to have people that are for something and against something. But I think that the movement behind this event and how big it is on scale with the vision behind it, I really think just a few more times to get it to succeed, and I think it could be there. And like I said, I have been to all the events. For most of them, I've handed out the trophies. I've seen people come from California. I've seen people come from Quebec, Canada. I've seen people come from Vermont all over to our town. And they all say the same thing. This is the greatest course I've ever ran. Your city's so beautiful. And whether they spend $1 at our local businesses or not, just the fact that someone came to our city and said, this is the most beautiful city I've been in, that means a lot. And like I say, we're good people. We're all ambassadors of our city. And, a lot of people have spoken in favor of tonight. And the people that email me and complain, they weren't here tonight speaking against it. So, I mean, somebody sends me a mean email 2 years ago, and I tell them, well, it'll be on the agenda next year for next year, and they don't show up. So what we'll do is we'll try our best to get the word out through social media, through our website, through all calls. We will try to inform the citizens the best we can about the traffic changes that are going to last for a couple hours. So that's my commitment to the council members that have debated this topic, and that's my commitment to the citizens. Thank you. We're going to go on the item, down the item here to special events. Item 1, Wave the Cross. Dr. Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there an intention to do a consent calendar for these, or should we do each?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I forgot. We do that now. I forgot all about that. So go ahead and give them all a name and roll with it.
All right, so for your consideration, we have 4 events. One is the Way of the Cross, March 29th, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. It's downtown. It starts at David Craig Park and ends at Lafayette Plaza. Event number 2 is the Havre de Grace Mother's Day Mart that we heard about today. It's May 11th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Franklin Street between Union and St. John. And then the last 2 events are the Pride of Baltimore wants to come to town twice. So the first visit would be May 17th through 19th, and the second visit would be September 6th through 8th, and both times it would be docked at Hutchins Memorial Park.
All right. Council, I have a motion to approve the special events.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Special events 1, 2, 3, and 4. The Way of the Cross, Havre de Grace Mother's Day Mart, Pride of Baltimore 2 visit, and a Pride of Baltimore 2 visit in September. Is all approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you, council, and thank you, Dr. Ritchie. We're going to go right back to you for a director's report from Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So speaking of events, I wanted to use my time today to talk about some other events that go on in the city that are not special events that have to go in front of the mayor and council. So last Friday, March 15th, there was a new show that opened at Gallery 220. It's called Whispers of Longing, and it is art, film, and poetry, and it runs through April 28th. Saturday, March 16th, they hosted a sold-out Women's History Month poetry event called Still I Rise, and I believe Councilmember Jones mentioned that at the last meeting. That was at the Opera House, and it was sold out, so that was wonderful. So upcoming Saturday, March 23rd at Gallery 220, When Harriet Met Frederick, a conversation with Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass at 3 p.m. And then the Rowdy Rooster Fest at Stepping Stone Farm Museum, May 3rd through May 5th. It's a collaboration between the Havre de Grace Arts Collective and Stepping Stone to host their first annual Susquehanna Quick Draw competition. And it is an outdoor painting competition with 3 different tracks: professional, amateur, and youth. There are cash prizes for the winners and also an opportunity to sell their artwork. Then March 23rd, Eagle Mania, the world's greatest Eagle tribute band, comes to the Star Center of Havre de Grace. And then March 24th, Animaniacs in Concert comes to the Star Center. And that is a blast from the past from my youth. And just a little side note, my cousins and I, we try to get together like once every quarter or whatnot and hang out. And I threw the Animaniacs out there to say, hey, would you want to do this? And my youngest cousin said that our age group is, or our age gap is most noticeable whenever I recommend things to do. So, and then lastly, Purim is this weekend, so I would like to wish our Jewish residents a happy Purim. And Easter is the following weekend, so happy Easter to everybody. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ritchie. We're going to go to Mr. Borsier, Director of Planning. How goes it, sir?
Great. Good evening, everybody. Friday, we did a tour of the city with our bikeways consultant. Councilmember Boyer was nice enough to join us. I think we really got a lot done and understand the amount of planning and the best ways to make these things happen. So the very beginning of this process, but more to come, and just letting everybody know that we're moving forward on that. On that same note, I have a meeting with the county this week. They're trying to figure out how to fund the proposed U.S. bike ped path on 40. They've had a bunch of different ideas. I'm not sure what's worked out or what hasn't worked out in the legislature, so I'm hoping to get an update for that. And lastly, on Wednesday, I plan to be at the Habitat for Humanity 20-year celebration. They're doing a ribbon cutting for a house that they're finishing up at 420 Ohio Street. That's it for me.
Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate the update. And we're going to go to Ms. Bridget Johnson, Director of Economic Development and Tourism. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens at home. My comments will be brief as well. Wednesday, 2 days from now, March 20th, we have the Economic Development Advisory Board meeting here in Council at 4 o'clock. The agenda is online for anyone at home interested. You can find that on the city website. The Tourism Advisory Board meets on Wednesday, March 20th as well, here in Council Chambers at 10 a.m. That agenda is also online and for anyone interested in attending. And last but not least, the Visitor Center is currently accepting names and addresses for the upcoming citywide yard sale on April 20th. And we are also accepting applications for the First Friday season, which begins on May 3rd. We have 70 vendors already signed up, so we have some more space available. So as always, follow us on explorehavredegrace.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you. That concludes my remarks for this evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. Good evening, Mr. Doherty.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens, both here and at home. First, I want to take the opportunity to, pardon me, to thank the Council for both ordinance 1141 second reading for the engineering services and for 1146 first reading the support. It's good to note that all these additional spending are being self-funded without taxpayer dollars, and that it's a sign of growth in the city. So they're both steps in the right direction, and it's good to be able to report those kinds of budget amendments. Now for the current situation with the major funds. The general fund, since my last report, we've had just about under $540,000 in revenues, mostly income tax receipts, early returns, and we've spent about $650 for various operations and payroll. Nothing individually very, very significant. But as a result, the fund declined about $115,000, but we're sitting at over $5.5 million. So we are, as is expected, and as I've said repeatedly, but I don't know how many times the citizens are hearing for the first time, we get a lot of our revenues at the front end of the year, and the balance slowly declines throughout the year. So none of this is anything that's not expected and anticipated. The Water and Sewer Fund, since my last report, we had just about $520,000 in revenues, mainly for the March billing period, and we spent almost $1.6 million, of which 1.2 was progress on the Route 155. Believe it or not, all that stopped traffic and all those people digging up pipes cost money, and so we got the first major bill for that. Again, it was in the budget, and it's not a concern, but it did cause the fund to decline by about $1.05 million, and we're sitting at $3.5 million right now. And finally, for the Marina Fund, since my last report, we collected about $12,000, mostly in ramp and slip fees, and we've spent about $30,000 again just in operating expenses, no real capital improvements, and so the fund declined to just under $20,000 to $857,400, and that's the current progress of the three major funds, and I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you, George. Any questions for Mr. Doherty? George, thank you for the update. Appreciate it. Good evening, Mr. Merlazer, Director of Public Works. What are you building?
Mayor, a little bit of everything. Three quick notes on that. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, Council members, citizens. We are building some water main breaks, so that'll be one topic. Got a few operational notes and yard waste pickup for the citizens that stayed with us. Give them a few updates on that. So one, we had about 4 water main breaks so far over the past couple weeks, Commerce, Stokes, Byrne, and Lafayette. So we took care of those. 8 total for 2024. And I did want to give a shout out to the water crew for fixing those and some of the on-call that responded. One of our recent employees, Pat Baker, responded to one of the on-call repairs after hours, and he actually was, after working an 8-hour day, all the way home to Pennsylvania, had to turn around, drive another hour. So it was about a 20-hour day for one of those repairs. So shout out to Pat. He's done a great job, good attitude, and always gets the job done. If you're driving near Tidings Yacht Basin, you may have noticed one of the Green Team projects. That's a Chesapeake Bay Grant Trust. That installation is a maritime-themed pollinator garden, so it's turned out to be pretty cool. If you like those sort of things, Jody from Ecologically Sound's working on that. She's doing great work. I'll keep you guys posted on an update for that. Third, we still do have contractors working on Weber Street water line. It's about 40% complete so far. We anticipate the completion around April 1st, and still we'll have some laterals to install. Lastly, for the residents that stuck around, taking advantage of the nicer weather, they are doing some yard work, but I did notice that some of them are putting their leaves in the plastic bags, and we get the call from Bartenfelder. So I just did want to say that they don't accept the yard waste in plastic bags. Plastic bags are difficult and costly to remove. And that yard waste is actually processed into mulch and compost. So just be mindful when you're putting things out. We do recommend, based off of Bartenfelder, just put it like a loose fitting in a trash can or in a paper bag, and it'll all be squared away. That's all I have. Open up for any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for EJ? All right. Thank you very much, EJ.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, Captain Crass. Thanks for filling in for the chief.
Yep,
See you here, sir.
Thank you. So the chief had a conflict, so, you know, you got the JV team going here today. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's tax season, and for us, that means that it is scam season. So we've had a little bit of an increase in some things, reports taken for some deceptive behavior that people call up claiming to be the IRS, or and so they do that in an attempt to get some information verification scams, or that they'll tell people that they're overdue on their taxes or that they have an unclaimed refund. And so just as a reminder that you should never share that kind of information over the phone, especially your social security number, date of births, things like that. Don't fall for the urgency that they try to portray. And they definitely would not be demanding payment immediately. You should not be needing to go to the, you know, CVS or Rite Aid to get a gift card in order to pay off the IRS. So these are the kind of things that we come across on a somewhat regular basis. So we just want our citizens to be, you know, be savvy and don't fall for these things. So have a good night.
Thanks for the advice, Captain. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go to comments from Mayor's office. A couple fun things. I tell you what, this past Thursday, the Friends of Concord Point Lighthouse had their annual fundraiser at the Vandiver. It's always their big fundraiser for St. Patrick's Day. And I tell you what, the Vandiver Pavilion was busting at the seams. There was a lot of people there from all over, not just Havre de Grace. A lot of people support our lighthouse, and it was a great night. And it gets more and more people every year. So next St. Patrick's Day season, keep an eye out on the Friends of Concord Point Light Facebook page or web page and buy tickets. It's great music, Irish food, Irish music, good gift baskets. All the proceeds go to the lighthouse. And so, and the lighthouse was lit up green this past week. Top of the morning to you. I know. So hope everybody had a real nice, safe St. Patrick's Day. Council President mentioned earlier, you know, a couple weeks ago, if you tuned in back in early February, I was a little grimaced about two bills down in Annapolis. One is the Senate Bill 484 and House Bill 538, in which basically, well, the long and short of it was, if the bill was to pass, then a lot of public buildings would fit the criteria to be developed into high-density multifamily housing. But more importantly, that's more than that, is the legislation in Annapolis would have usurped local zoning laws. And, you know, adequate public facilities wouldn't have mattered. Zoning setbacks, parking requirements would have all been waived by the state law, which is what really had our concern. And, you know, one of the things that would fit the bill perfectly is Havre Memorial Hospital. And so we've watched this very closely. And today, as of today, today's called Crossover Day at the Maryland General Assembly. And bills that don't cross over by the day are referred to the Rules Committee. So if the bill doesn't leave each house and go to the other house, usually what it does, usually it dies. I mean, it does go to the Rules Committee, but it takes a lot of work to get out of the Rules Committee, and most likely it's not going to pass. So today was the day that the House bill didn't leave the House and the Senate bill didn't leave the Senate. Hopefully those bills aren't going to, you know, see the light of day, but we'll keep an eye on it till the end of the session, which is going to be April 8th. We're very disappointed that Maryland Municipal League, known as MML, was not against this. You know, we've been in discussions with them that this is, in my 16 years of public service, I've never seen a law come from Annapolis, even proposed law, that would have trumped local zoning authority. So this, you know, thankfully, the members of the House and members of the Senate kind of felt the same way we did. You know, knowing Annapolis like I know Annapolis, don't be surprised if you see something like this next year. Rear its head up. You know, one thing I learned about Annapolis is they never give up. But, you know, hopefully by then, maybe we'll have a disposition on that old hospital building. You know, Upper Chesapeake still owns it, and, you know, maybe a developer will come by that want to put a good product there or do something. You know, maybe there'll be funds available for the demolition of the building or something like that. So, you know, time is now a little bit on our favor. Hopefully this bill doesn't come back. If it does, hopefully we'll move fast enough to get like I say, a disposition on it. But I just want everybody to know that it looks like right now, looks like we're okay. We'll keep an eye on it. And lastly, just want to remind everybody that the next council meeting is going to be at the Bully Rock Residence Center. So a few years ago, I don't know how long ago it was, I know it was pre-COVID, probably 2017 or something like that, we took the show on the road. They always say you can't have more than 3 council members in the same room without public notice. It's called the Sunshine Law. And I said, well, if that's the case, then I guess in theory we could have a council meeting anywhere. So Coakley's didn't want a council meeting, so I'm joking. No, we had council meetings in the past. We've had council meetings at the Decoy Museum. We had council meetings at the Maritime Museum, at the American Legion. We've had council meetings at Bully Rock Residence Center. But we haven't done it in like 5 or 6 years. And so a lot of people just kind of came casually to check it out. People that normally just wouldn't come to City Hall to see a council meeting. And so it's like kind of like a public outreach. So council passed a resolution not too long ago to allow up to 3 off-site meetings this year. We have identified one meeting, which is going to be the Bully Rock Residence Center. And it's going to be the next council meeting, April 1st. That has nothing to do with the fact that it's April Fool's Day. It's actually going to happen. And so if you're looking for us here and you show up at 7 o'clock, we're not here, just go up the road, and the gate will be open. Any citizen can go into the Bully Rock Residence Center because it's a public meeting. We can't exclude the public. So that's what will be on April 1st. And yes, it will be recorded, but not live streamed. So we'll have to, we don't have the bandwidth available to blast it out live as the council meeting is going on. So the council meeting will be recorded, and then you can watch it on YouTube as soon as the council meeting's over. So I mean, you can watch it. Last thing I want to say, there is a son of Havre Grace who joined the Susquehanna Hose Company Division II in 1993, who was a good man and a friend of many. And like I said, he served in the Susquehanna Hose Company for 31 years, and very sadly, he passed away this past weekend. His name was David Starr, and perhaps some people here know Mr. Starr. But
Dave.
And if I wouldn't mind, I'd like to yield the last 5 seconds of my time for a moment of silence. And I thank you. And we're going to go to Councilmember Jones. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens in the audience, and citizens at home. I just have a few things as we near the 10 o'clock hour. Myself and many of my colleagues did a ribbon cutting for Think Big. That is a new provider, cable provider in the area. And that was really great just to see them moving forward. I also attended an event that Dr. Ritchie mentioned, the Still I Rise at the Havre Grace Opera House, Women's Voices in American Poetry. That was phenomenal. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Christopher Providence, who organized that event, and he does such a great job every year, and to the almost 20 women who actually got up there and memorized poetry and really were just awesome. It's every year, so if you haven't gone, I encourage you to go in the future. The other event that Dr. Ritchie mentioned and that I just want to echo is on March 23rd at Gallery 2020 is When Harriet Met Frederick. That should be a pretty great event. And then lastly, I just want to give a thanks to EJ. I manage a social media site with over 3,000 members, and one of the members reported a sticker on, I think it was around 95 in Havre Grace, and the sticker promoted anti-Semitism. And so it was horrible for me to see that in our city, but when I called EJ immediately, he was in his car on it. And so I don't know if you jumped in the car, if you were in the car, but he was there in 2 seconds, right? So I just want to thank you, and you got so much kudos on the side as well for that fast action. So I just wanted people to know that when something like that happens in our town, we take action, and I appreciate that. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jones. Appreciate the comments. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank everyone for voting for the Bird City. I know that there's several members of the Green Team that are very excited about it, and I expect to see something quickly from them putting that in place, that application in place. I attended, along with Councilwoman Shenegas, the Hartford Land Trust meeting at the Decoy Museum. I was amazed to see how many people they can put in that. There was well over 100 people there. Very interesting perspectives. The different maps that they put together in their annual report. I would hope eventually that they'll have a couple more places marked green in the Havre de Grace area once we get the park on the north side, around the Joe K Trail, et cetera, there, just to show a little bit more representation there as far as area that's been preserved for human beings to use for inland preservation. I also attended the St. Patrick's Day celebration at the Lighthouse, and I just want to give huge kudos to Amy Rosenkrantz, who's really taken us, jumped on the committee and made it absolutely amazing. The level of excitement is wonderful. I want to let you all know that Mr. McIntyre will be sitting on the philosopher's bench regularly on one Wednesday a month. And he will also be doing a tour on the 23rd of March from 10 to 2. It's a Saturday. And he'll provide a walking tour of the history and restoration of the lighthouse and Keeper's House. And with that, I bid you all a fair night. Good night.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Shenegas.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, and citizens here and at home. It was lovely to have such wonderful weather this weekend and to see people out visiting the restaurants and just getting fresh air and welcoming spring. Though we have a little cool weather, kind of calming us down and keeping us at bay, it is nice that spring is definitely here in the air, and there have been a lot of wonderful events going on. Great to be able to attend them with my colleagues, and it's just great to be a part of this wonderful city. I want to invite all of you to gather up your little ones and be sure to come out. The Havre de Grace Recreation Committee is hosting the annual spring egg hunt, March 30th at 12 noon to 12:01 noon at the Concord Point Lighthouse. Be there, make sure you get there early. We never want to see anyone going away disappointed because they got there a minute too late. It is wonderful, and I hope to see you all there. And with that said, I thank all of you that serve on our city and on our council, and that make this a wonderful place for our citizens to be. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenegas, and good evening, Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I have no comments this evening.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Good evening, Councilmember Boker.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Mayor, citizens, those of you who are tuned in at home, directors, and fellow council. Just a couple of things. I had forgotten about the attendance of the Think Big ribbon cutting. That went over very well. We actually had was it a satisfied customer that was there that day that gave some comments? And they were definitely gratifying, and he's flying at 10/100 megabyte speeds. That was great. I'll echo the mayor's comments too in regard to the Vandiver. They knocked it out of the park when they supported the Concord Point Lighthouse fundraiser. That was a grand event. I don't know which one this is. For me, we try to attend them all. I don't have any money. But anyway, that's okay. But this one here, I noticed that it just keeps growing and growing with more and more people. It's not just the inner circle that you normally see. It's more and more citizens who are actually coming out and able to raise funds. I mean, our lighthouse isn't, it's old, right? The keeper's house is old, and it has to maintain the grounds and so on and so forth. So I'll keep my comments short. I do also want to recognize our fallen Susquehanna Hose Company firefighter, Mr. David Starr. After 41 years of service, that's something right there to the Susquehanna Hose Company. I always thought, my years of service in the military, being 23, was commendable. It pales in comparison to 41 years. So I offer my condolences to the family, friends, and those who I know are affected by it. And on that note, I want to go ahead and thank the Susquehanna Hose Company for all they do, keeping us safe at night. When that alarm goes off, there's brave men and women who are putting their boots on to go out there and do God's work, right? I also want to thank the police department for the very same thing as well, and our first responders, and DPW for turning around and coming back to Havre de Grace to fix a water leak. I think that's pretty impressive. Mayor Martin, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Boker. That takes us to comments from the council president.
Mr. Mayor, citizens, council, thank you for the kind words you said about Dave. He was a good guy, good friend. He'll be missed. I'm sure many of you guys have probably seen him walking down Union Avenue. So just keep him and his family in your prayers. I want to thank everybody who came out to the Troop 965 spaghetti dinner last weekend, especially my esteemed council members who came. The numbers were a bit down because it was raining absolute cats and dogs. So I did, there were a couple people that I didn't see that I see every year, so I made sure I got a takeout and I took it to their house because I knew they didn't come out, they're older, and I wanted to make sure that they got the spaghetti dinner that we had. And they greatly appreciated it. Upcoming, we have the Troop 967 Pancake Breakfast. That's my daughter's troop, and that's on April 27th from 8 to 10:30 at the American Legion, and the cost is an $8 minimum donation. So they're asking for that. So come on out, eat some pancakes with the scouts at the American Legion. And Mr. Mayor, I do want to apologize for stepping on your toes about the bills in Annapolis. I didn't know you were going to speak on that, and I just wanted Ms. Former Council Member Zinner to be aware that they didn't make it out of committee. So with that, I'd like to wish my Muslim friends Ramadan Mubarak, and thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Council President. And that leads us to item 18 on the agenda, which is known as adjournment. And do I have a motion to close the meeting out?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Boker, seconded by Councilmember Jones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Thank you very much, everybody. The May 18th meeting is now concluded. The time is now 10:09 p.m. We'll see you April 1st at the Bully Rock Residence Center for the next council meeting. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night. Be safe.